Over 2/3 of you are not subscribed, so if you find this video helpful, I'd appreciate it if you would consider changing that. This is every PvE god roll for every craftable weapon in the entire game. Weapons are ordered by archetype or are timestamped in the description if you want to skip to certain ones. The website I'm using to look these up, d2gunsmith.com, will also be linked in the description. Beginning with the auto rifles, we have the Come to Pass, which is a Witch Queen world drop. I highly recommend a reload speed masterwork, hammer forged rifling for bonus range, tactical mag for a magazine increase and reload speed increase, and then stats for all and one for all. Just a really solid combo on auto rifles. Next, we have the Sweet Sorrow, which is a season of the Risen auto rifle, so Risen Umbral Energy. Once again, reload speed masterwork, hammer forged rifling for a range increase, tactical mag because bonus magazine size and bonus to reload speed, and you have a couple options here. You can go the stats for all, one for all combo. You can mess around with triple tap if you're fighting tankier enemies and pair it with something like Vorpal Weapon for a 20% damage boost on things like champions and GMs, and you can also go something like Demolitionist if you want higher grenade uptime. Next, we have the FIREFRIGHT, which is Season of the Haunted, so it's going to be Opulent Umbral Energy. Once again, reload speed masterwork, hammer forged rifling. Don't have tac mag here, so I would go Flared Magwell. It's the next best thing. Get a solid reload speed bump, and this doesn't really have very many good PvE perks. The best one in my opinion would probably be Fourth Times Focus Fury, but still just not that great of an auto rifle in PvE. But if you like the look of it and you want to use it, then that's probably the combo that I would go with. Next up, we have the AMMIT AR2, which is actually a very unique acquisition path. You get it from a quest in the Enclave on like the left side of the crafting table. Here I would go reload speed masterwork, hammer forged rifling, flared magwell because this thing doesn't have tactical mag once again. And then you can go stats for all, one for all. If you're using a solar build, you can throw on something like Incandescent, get bonus utility out of maybe some of your fragments through Scorch and Ignite. And if you're running like a grenade-based build, you can also go something like Adrenaline Junkie can feel really nice. Throw a grenade, instantly get like a 33% damage buff. This auto rifle has a lot of pretty decent options. Moving on to the bows, we're starting with the Fel TARADIDDLE. It's a Witch Queen world drop. For all bows, you're always going to want to go Elastic String because it decreases your draw time. The lower the milliseconds on your draw time is, the better. This gives minus 80. And for arrow, you're always going to want to go Compact Arrow Shaft because it's the only one that gives a reload speed bonus. As for your masterwork, I don't know if it's a visual bug on this website or if this is the way it actually is in game, but it seems like you can't go below 500 milliseconds of draw time. If I do draw time masterwork, keeps the draw time the same. So when you're at the crafting table, mess around with it. If when you have these two perks equipped, if doing a draw time masterwork doesn't change the milliseconds on draw time, go reload speed masterwork. If it does change it, go draw time masterwork. As for your third and fourth column perks, Archer's Tempo, by far the best perk on bows across the board. For harder activities, I'd probably go Explosive Head for like GMs, hitting champions, stuff like that. For activities with squishier enemies, I'd probably go Successful Warm Up because it's going to give you a lot more DPS because you'll be shooting it significantly faster. Next up, we have Under Your Skin, Season of the Risen Bow. So it's once again going to be Risen Umbral Energy. Draw time masterwork on this uncircumstantially because you're not going to get close to 500 milliseconds anyway, so you're always going to get a benefit from that. Elastic String for draw time decrease, and Compact Arrow Shaft for reload speed increase. Archer's Tempo, once again, best perk on bows across the board. And Explosive Head for activities where enemies are a little bit tankier, GMs, day one raids, stuff like that. And then Successful Warm Up for activities where you have squishier enemies, stuff like regular strikes, stuff like maybe dungeons, regular raids, things of that nature. Finally, for the bows, we have Tripwire CANARY, Season of the SERAPH seasonal weapon. So it's going to be Seraphic Umbral Energy, I think is what it's called. Same issue that we had with the Fel TARADIDDLE. I don't know if it's a visual bug in terms of the draw time millisecond display, but when you're at the crafting table, just mess around. If draw time seems to actually decrease the draw time, go with it. Otherwise, you want to reload speed masterwork, Elastic String, and Compact Arrow Shaft once again for faster draw time, faster reload speed. Archer's Tempo, because obviously best perk for bows in the entire game. And then in your fourth column, you have a couple options. You can go Explosive Head, you can go Frenzy if you're in combat for long stretches of time. You can go Successful Warm Up if you find yourself fighting against squishier enemies, similar to the previous two bows. Next up, we have the AUSTRINGER, Opulent Umbral Energy from Season of the Haunted. I would go reload speed masterwork. Full bore for the increased range. You don't really need stability or handling on hand cannons because they don't shoot very quickly. I would go Flared Magwell for the increased reload speed. And this thing doesn't really have any good PvE perk rolls at all. Your only options really are going to be like Outlaw Frenzy or maybe Triple Tap Frenzy. Other than that, nothing too good for PvE. Next up, we have ZAOULI'S Bane from the King's Fall raid. Reload speed masterwork. Full bore for the barrel. I would go Tactical Mag for the magazine. You could go Flared Magwell if you want to go all in on reload speed. I think Tac Mag probably feel a little bit better. For your third column, Explosive payload uncircumstantially, in my opinion. In this column, though, you have a lot of options. I think Demolitionist could be really solid if you really prioritize having your grenade up a lot. One for All can feel nice in activities with tankier enemies. Incandescent can feel nice with solar builds. And Firefly can feel decent in activities with squishier enemies where you're able to proc it a lot. Next up, we have Posterity from Deepstone CRYPT raid. Reload speed masterwork once again. Full bore on the barrel. Tactical mag on the magazine is what I would go with here. For your third column, I would do Rapid Hit. I know a lot of people are going to lean towards Reconstruction. I don't like that for primary weapons. I think Reconstruction is much nicer on weapons that you stow a lot, like special weapons and heavy. I think something like Rapid Hit is a lot better for a hand cannon primary weapon, which has a lot higher active use time. Could go Volt Shot if you want to. I think Rapid Hit's probably going to feel nicer though. And for your fourth column perks, I would probably uncircumstantially go Frenzy. You could like maybe do Rampage if you're killing enemies that frequently in activities with squishier enemies, but in higher end activities, Frenzy is definitely going to be the move. Moving on, we have the Eichel's hand cannon, so Seraphic Umbral Energy, Reload Speed Masterwork, Full Bore, Tactical Mag, Rapid Hit, in my opinion, is the only perk that you're ever really going to want to go here, unless you want to go the Stats for All, One for All combo, but I think something like Rapid Hit and Frenzy is going to feel really, really solid. You can throw in Repulsor Brace if you're doing like a Falcon's Hunter build. You can do Rampage if you're fighting against like squishier enemies. And you could maybe do Rapid Hit One for All if you're in tankier activity like GMs where, you know, you have stuff like Champions and things of that nature to deal with. Next up, we have Pulse Rifles. So Insidious, Vow of the Disciple raid. I would go Reload Speed Masterwork, Hammer Forge Rifling, Tactical Mag. It'll give you an extra burst in the weapon. And I personally would like Rapid Hit and One for All on this, but you do have some other options. Demolitionist can feel nice if you are running a grenade based build. You want to have your grenade up really frequently. You could go the Stats for All, One for All combo if you wanted to. I think Rapid Hit is probably going to feel the best here, but you don't necessarily have to go One for All. You can do Rapid Hit Vorpal if you're in an activity with a lot of majors and champions, maybe GMs, get that 20% buff against them. And if you're running a grenade based build, you can do something like Rapid Hit Adrenaline Junkie, get a grenade kill, instantly 33% damage buff. So a lot of options on that one. Next up, we have the Peace of Mind. So Risen Umbral Energy, Season of the Risen. I would go Reload Speed Masterwork, Hammer Forged Rifling, Flared Magwell, and then I would probably go Stats for All with Vorpal Weapon. You could do Stats for All Adrenaline Junkie too if you got a grenade based build going on. Stuff like GMs and stuff like that, I think Stats for All and Vorpal is probably going to feel the best. For non-GM activities, you could maybe do something like Focus Fury instead, but you're really not going to feel the effects of that too much. This isn't the best pulse rifle outside of higher end content because it doesn't have a lot of perks that work well in lower end content, but I would probably go Stats for All Adrenaline in lower end, or if you're running a grenade-based build in higher end, and then Stats for All Vorpal in any higher end content, period. And next up, we have the Syncopation, which is just a world drop. I would go Reload Speed Masterwork, Hammer Forged Rifling, Flared Magwell, and then Outlaw and Frenzy. This doesn't really have very many good perk options in the third column for PvE specifically. Its fourth column isn't bad. Frenzy's not bad. Headstone is awesome if you're running like a stasis-based build, Whisper of Chains, something of that nature. Vorpal can feel nice in higher-end activities like GMs, but this third column not really having many options other than Outlaw, maybe Zen Moment. It's not the best PvE pulse rifle, to be completely honest. Next up, we have the BXR 55 Battler, Dares of Eternity craftable weapon. I'd go Reload Speed Masterwork, Hammer Forge Rifling for the bonus range, Flared Magwell for bonus reload speed. I think Demolitionist feels awesome on this thing. It kills really squishier enemies really, really fast and has really incredible range from the zoom in scope. And if you're using like a solar based build, Incandescent is definitely going to be your best bet. Otherwise, Kill Clip might feel a little bit better because you're not going to have any solar fragments to sync up with Incandescent for like extra scorch stacks and extra effects on ignitions and things of that nature. So I would say probably Kill Clip if you're not running a solar build, whereas you could lean towards Incandescent if you are running a solar build. Next, we have the Smite of MERAIN King's Fall Pulse Rifle. I'd go Reload Speed Masterwork, Hammer Forge Rifling, Tactical Mag gives you an extra burst in the weapon, or you could go Flared Magwell if you'd rather all in on reload speed, get an extra 5 in that stat category. And then a couple options here. You can go Stats for All, One for All, always going to feel like a really nice combo. Demolitionist, always a really solid perk on all weapons, get you your grenade back a little bit more quickly. You can go Adrenaline Junkie if you're running a grenade-based build, get a damage buff really quickly, right up to 33% with a grenade kill. Demo and Adrenaline Junkie would probably pair really, really well together. Could also do something like Firefly for lower end content where you can proc it a lot, kill a lot of enemies, or Vorpal for higher end content where you can make good use of that against like champions and majors and things of that nature. But probably Stats for All, One for All is probably your good all-arounder. Demo and Adrenaline Junkie is going to feel really solid too. But you have some ancillary options in case you're running very specific type of activity. Next up, we have Disparity, Season of the Seraph Pulse Rifle, so Seraphic Umbral Energy. Here, I would probably go Reload Speed Masterwork, Hammer Forge Rifling, Tactical Mag for an extra burst, and then I think Rapid Hit is by far going to be the best perk in this third column. In this fourth column, you have a couple of options. If you're doing a stasis-based build, Whisper of Chains, Headstone can feel really good. One for All is always going to feel super nice, 35% damage buff when you have 3 separate targets. Frenzy is going to feel good if you're in combat a lot. And Kill Clip can feel really, really nice in lower-end content where you're consistently getting kills on enemies, getting that reload speed, and then boom, 25% damage buff. But a lot of options here in the fourth column depending on what your playstyle is and depending on what activity you're playing. Moving on to Scout Rifles, we have Pointed Inquiry, Witch Queen World Drop. I'd go Reload Speed Masterwork, Full Bore for all in on range. You don't really care about stability or handling too much on Scout Rifles because they shoot a little slower, similar to hand cannons. I'd probably go Flared Magwell on this guy. And then probably Stats for All is the only perk I really love in here that much. You could do 4 times the charm, maybe, but with the low magazine size, 4 times the charm doesn't feel as good on a weapon like this. So I like Stats for All more so. And then Demolitionist is definitely my favorite perk in the fourth column for this weapon in particular. Once again, Focus Fury, I don't love that much on primary weapons, but if you really love Focus Fury, you could maybe go that route. I just like Demolitionist a lot. Higher grenade uptime feels really solid. Next up, we have Tears of Contrition, Season of the Haunted, so Opulent Umbral Energy. Here you'll want to go Reload Speed Masterwork, Full Bore, increased range, don't care about stability or handling, Flared Magwell for increased reload speed. Your options in this third column aren't that great. Triple Tap's probably the best of a bad situation, and then Explosive Payload just feels really solid. You could maybe go Vorpal if you're taking this into like GMs, want that 20% against champions, but other than that, I think Explosive Payload is always going to be your best bet. Moving on, Doom of Chelchis, King's Fall Raid, Reload Speed, Full Bore, Flared Magwell, and then here you have a couple of options. Explosive Payload is going to be a nice all-rounder. Firefly is going to feel decent in activities with squishier enemies. Vorpal is going to feel decent in the opposite of that, so activities with tankier enemies, GMs, champions, you got a lot of majors, orange bars, stuff like that. And in your fourth column, you've got Frenzy is probably going to be the pairing for any of those 3 perks, or you can go the Stats for All, 1 for All combo. I don't think this feels quite as good on Scout Rifles, but it's definitely not a bad perk pairing. But for me personally, I'd probably go the Explosive Frenzy route in most cases. Next up, we have the Tarnished Metal from Season of Plunder, so Plundered Umbral Energy. Reload Speed Masterwork, I would go Full Bore on the barrel, Flared Magwell on the magazine, and then I'd probably go Rapid Hit Explosive Payload in most circumstances. You could maybe do Demolitionist instead if you're doing like a grenade-based build. You could maybe do Volt Shot in here if you're a big fan of Volt Shot. Me personally, I'm not. I don't think it's that great of a weapon perk. I would go Rapid Hit Explosive Payload in most circumstances, but Demolitionist can be fine. Volt Shot can be fine if that's your thing as well. Next up, we have the Trustee Deepstone Crypt Raid Scout Rifle. So Reload Speed Masterwork, I would go here. Full Bore, Flared Magwell. Once again, I don't love reconstruction on primary weapons. I like it more so on weapons that you have stowed quite frequently, so special weapons and heavy weapons. I'd rather go something like Rapid Hit here. It's just going to feel a lot better. You'll have much more weapon uptime in terms of how often you're going to be shooting. And then for pairing, I would probably go something like Incandescent in 99% of situations here. You don't really have any other particularly great options. Redirection, I don't think is that good. Wellspring isn't going to feel that great on this weapon either. So Incandescent, and especially if you're running a solar build, Incandescent's going to make this thing feel a little bit better because your fragments are going to enhance the effects of your Incandescent as well. Next up, we've got sidearms. So we've got Empirical Evidence, Witch Queen World Drop. I'd go Reload Speed Masterwork. We want to focus on range, but we don't want to do it at the cost of stability or handling. So we're going to go Hammer Forge Rifling, Flared Magwell on the magazine, and then here Perpetual Motion's probably the best of a bad situation. You don't really have any good perks in this third column, so I'd go Perpetual here for the bonus reload speed, stability, and handling. And then in this fourth column, once again, not many great options. Wellspring is probably going to be your best bet. You could go Swashbuckler if you're doing a melee-based build because you are naturally going to be close range with the sidearm, so getting a melee kill, 33% damage buff. That could feel nice on this. Otherwise, I would probably go the Wellspring route. Next, we have the Drang from Season of the Haunted, so Opulent Umbral Energy. I would go Reload Speed Masterwork. Same reasons as before. We want range, but not at the cost of handling or stability, so we're just going to go with Hammer Forge. I would go Tactical Mag here, get a +3 to your magazine and bonus reload speed and bonus bonus stability, which is all going to feel incredible on a sidearm. In this first column, I feel like Wellspring is probably your only great option. Work really nice in ability-based builds, which is pretty much all builds nowadays. Incandescent's probably going to be your best option in the fourth column, especially if you're running a solar build, but you do have some other options. If you're in activities with a lot of champions, a lot of orange bars, Vorpal could maybe feel nice. You could go Rampage in activities where enemies are a little squishier, and you could go something like Swashbuckler if you're on the melee-based build. Empowered melee kill, 33% buff instantly, but I think most circumstances, a lot of people are going to want to go the Wellspring Incandescent route because this gun feels absolutely incredible with a solar-based build. Finally, for sidearms, we have Brigand's Law, so Season of the Plundered sidearm, so Plundered Umbral Energy, go Reload Speed Masterwork, Hammer Forged Rifling, Tactical Mag, I actually like on this one. You could go Flared Mag well as well if you want to all in on reload speed bonus. Third column perk here, not a lot of great options. I would probably go Threat Detector. You're probably going to be close range to a lot of enemies quite frequently, so you're going to always have the effects of this. And then Demolitionist is probably your only good perk here in the fourth column. Could go Swashbuckler if you're running a melee-based build, and you could go Volt Shot if that's your thing. Me personally, not a big fan of Volt Shot. I would probably go Threat Detector Demo in 99% of situations that I'm using this sidearm. And finally, for primary weapons, we have SMGs. So we're starting with Submission, Vow of the Disciple Raid. I'd go Reload Speed Masterwork, Hammer Forged Rifling, because we want bonus range, but not at the cost of handling or stability. I'd go Flared Magwell here. I think Flared Magwell is generally better on SMGs compared to Tactical Mag. Tactical Mag only gives you one extra bullet, 37 to 38, just doesn't seem that good. As far as the third column perks go, I'd probably go Subsistence in most situations, unless I'm in an activity where enemies are really, really tanky, in which case Perpetual might feel a little bit better. For your fourth column, you can either go Demolitionist, I think would feel really nice. You go Swashbuckler if you're a melee-based build. SMGs, you're going to be pretty close range, so very easy to get that 5x 33% damage buff. Frenzy is going to be your best all-around perk. It's going to work for every activity you're in, no matter what. Not only does it give you a damage bonus, also gives you handling and a reload speed bonus. So kind of up to you where you go with there, but this would probably be a good baseline for your submission. Next, we have Forensic Nightmare, Witch Queen World Drop. I'd go Reload Speed Masterwork, Hammer Forged Rifling, Flared Magwell. Perpetual Motion is the only thing I really like in this third column in any capacity. In this fourth column, you can go Swashbuckler if you're on the melee-based build. You can go Headstone if you're on the Stasis build, so you want to do some like Whisper of Chains proccing and stuff like that, get your grenade back more quickly. Kill Clip is probably going to be your best option for like an all-rounder though. Next we have Calus's Mini Tool, probably the best SMG in the game. Maybe that versus Ikelos SMG, definitely the best solar SMG in the game. But definitely Reload Speed Masterwork, Hammer Forged Rifling for the bonus range, Flared Magwell for the bonus reload speed. Here I love Threat Detector. You get a big reload speed and stability boost whenever you're near enemies, which since it's an SMG, pretty close range, going to be pretty common. So I love Threat Detector on this, and I would pretty much always pair it with Incandescent. Even if you're not running a solar build, I think Incandescent is definitely by far the best fourth column perk on this weapon. In my personal opinion, this roll right here is the only roll you should ever be running on the Calus's Mini Tool, regardless of what activity you're doing, what build you're doing, etc., etc. Next, we have the Blood Feud, Season of the Plunder, so Plundered Umbral Energy. Here I would go Reload Speed Masterwork, Hammer Forged Rifling, Flared Magwell. Doesn't have very many good perks here in the third column. Triple Tap is honestly the best one in my opinion, even though Triple Tap is not particularly good on SMGs because it's not quite as easy to hit crits on these guys. But the other third column perks it has is just really not good at all. Its fourth column, you have a couple more options. You can go Swashbuckler for melee-based builds. You can go Wellspring if you're wanting to constantly regen ability energy. You can go Headstone if you're on the Stasis-based build, Whisper of Chains synergy, and Frenzy is going to be your best all-rounder, bonus to reload speed, bonus damage, bonus handling. It's going to work in all activities and feel really solid regardless of if you're doing GMs or just like regular strikes. Next, we have the Ikelos SMG. Here I'd go Reload Speed Masterwork, Hammer Forged Rifling for the bonus range, Flared Magwell for the bonus reload speed. You could maybe go Tactical Mag. I like Flared better because Tac Mag only gives +1 bullet to SMGs, which they have a large magazine, so you're really not going to feel that all that well. I'd rather have more reload speed. I'd go Threat Detector here for the same reasons I go it on the other SMGs. You're close range to enemies a lot of the time. This is pretty much always going to be active when you're in combat because you're going to be close enough to get those reload speed and stability buffs. And then Frenzy is going to be by far your best all-rounder perk on this guy. You could go Volt Shot if you want to, if that's your kind of thing. I don't really like Volt Shot that much. I would recommend Frenzy in all circumstances. To me, this is by far the best roll here, regardless of what activity you're running. Obviously, if you're more comfortable with other perks, that's up to you. Moving on to special weapons. We have fusion rifles first, so we've got the Deliverance from the Vow of the Disciple raid. I'd recommend a charge time masterwork, arrowhead break, best handling and recoil direction control. It's going to increase your effective range because you're going to be able to keep the burst of bolts a little tighter. I would go projection fuse for increased range. In your third column, I would go demolitionist. Demolitionist feels really good on special weapons because it gives you 20% grenade energy on kill as opposed to 10% that you get from primary weapons. And for fourth column, I'd probably go chill clip here. This thing is going to be a beast in any champion-based activities because freezing naturally counters barrier champions. Slowing is going to stun overload champions once we hit lightfall, and breaking enemies out of frozen. So 2 shots with this thing will freeze an enemy. Breaking them out will stun unstoppable champions. So you'll be able to stun all 3 types of champions without even using any weapon mods or anything of that nature. So this thing's going to feel awesome in champion-based activities and Lightfall with this particular role. Next up, we have Likely Suspect, Witch Queen World Drop. Here, I would go Charge Time Masterwork, Arrowhead Break, tighter burst of the bolts, going to give you better effective range. Projection Fuse will give you better actual range. And then here, Firmly Planted is, in my opinion, the only perk here that you can really justify. I would never go stats for all, one for all, because on a fusion rifle, it just takes way too long to proc that. You only have 7 bullets. By the time you have it procced, you're down to 4. I would probably go Firmly Planted. It's not great, but nothing else is really a better option. And then I guess maybe Wellspring here is an okay option here. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This fusion rifle kind of sucks, and I wouldn't really waste your time on it. But if you want to get it for whatever reason, that's the role I would recommend to you. Next, we have the Epicurean from the Duality Dungeon, I believe, is where you get the red borders for this. I'd go Charge Time Masterwork, Arrowhead Break, tighter bolt spread, so more effective range, projection fuse for bonus range. Here, I like Surplus the most in the third column. It's kind of the best of a bad situation. You don't really have many good perks here in the third column for the Epicurean. For this fourth column, I would go Repulsor Brace if you're running like a Trafalcons build maybe, but probably Swashbuckler in most situations because the nature of fusion rifles is you're going to be closer to enemies than you are further from them, so getting an empowered melee to proc that 33.3% damage buff is going to be a little more common when you're running something like a fusion rifle. Similar to the Likely Suspect though, I do not think this fusion rifle is that good in PvE, so I wouldn't really worry about it too much. I wouldn't stress over trying to get one. MIDHA'S Reckoning, King's Fall Raid. I would go Charge Time Masterwork here, Arrowhead Break, same reasons as before, Projection Fuse for the bonus range. Field Prep is probably going to be your best option in this first column. You crouch, you're going to get better reload speed, and you just get an overall bullet inventory size increase, so you can carry more bullets with you. And Reservoir Burst is just an amazing perk on fusion rifles. Pretty much if a fusion rifle has this perk available on it, I'm usually running that perk over literally any other perk that the fusion rifle could possibly have. Next up, we have glaives. I'm going to be 100% honest. I am not particularly knowledgeable about glaives, so take these God roll glaive recommendations with a huge grain of salt. Feel free to correct me in the comments down below if I'm wrong about my glaive recommendations. In my mind, what makes sense, I don't use glaives. That's why I don't really know what the best options are. But in my mind, it makes sense to prioritize things that allow you to put them away and pull them out faster, and then perks that are, increased damage, perks that are melee based, and perks that are all about you being close to enemies. So I'd go Handling Masterwork. I would go the Tempered Truss Rod for bonus handling. I would go Swap Mag, increases the weapon's ready and stow speed. Makes sense to me. Threat Detector, because you're theoretically always going to be close to enemies. Better handling boost, and better reload speed if you need to reload the actual shots in it. And then Frenzy for 15% damage. Handling increase when you're in combat. That's probably the best, in my opinion. This is obviously the glaive that you get from the Witch Queen campaign. Next up, we have LUBRAE'S Ruin, Vow of the Disciple glaive. Handling Masterwork, once again, Tempered Truss Rod for increased handling. Swap Mag for increased ready and stow speed. Killing Wind, in my opinion, is probably your best option here. It increases mobility, increases handling. I don't really love any of the other third column perks. And then in this fourth column, to me, Swashbuckler by far makes the most sense. I don't know if the glaive melee kill counts as a melee kill and instantly brings you up to 33.3%. If it doesn't, maybe Swashbuckler isn't as good. Maybe you could justify something like Vorpal instead, but I feel like Swashbuckler is still pretty decent. Getting 5 kills on squishy enemies isn't too difficult, and that'll get you to the 33% buff all the same. So we have NEZAREC'S Whisper, so Season of the Haunted, so it's going to be Umbral Opulent energy. Here, Handling Masterwork, once again, Tempered Truss Rod for bonus handling, Swap Mag, better ready and stow speed, and then Demolitionist makes the most sense on this. To me, in my opinion, get your grenade up more frequently, which actually I think could feel not half bad with a glaive. And then you can go Adrenaline Junkie so that you can throw that grenade a lot, get a kill with it, boom, instant 33% buff. You could also go Frenzy, awesome all-rounder damage buff perk that is pretty much always active so long as you're in combat, but kind of up to you. Finally, we have Judgment of Kel'Garath, which is the Season of the Seraph glaive, so Seraphic Umbral Energy. Handling Masterwork on this guy, Tempered Truss Rod for bonus handling, Swap Mag, Ready and Stow Speed, Demolitionist for the same reasons as before, get kills, gives you more grenade uptime, gives you a little bit more versatility while using the glaive. And then here in this fourth column, I don't know if getting a melee kill would proc Incandescent. If it would, I guess Incandescent could be kind of a decent perk for this glaive. But I know that kills do proc Wellspring, and Wellspring will probably feel pretty decent. It'll further give you even more grenade energy, help you throw grenades more frequently, which I think is nice when you have a glaive because it kind of extends your effective range. Moving on to grenade launchers, we have the legendary Forbearance, the one that everybody loves, Deepstone Crypt Raid. Here I'd go Reload Speed Masterwork, Quick Launch, High Velocity Rounds, Ambitious Assassin, so you can get 2 in the mag after you get a kill, and Chain Reaction so that whenever you kill anything, everything just explodes. It's pretty much the only role that you should ever be rocking on this weapon. Definitely one of the best weapons in the game, and if there's one weapon you got to get before Lightfall, this is the one I would definitely gun for. Next, we have Explosive Personality, which is also a Waveframe GL, and also pretty good to be 100% honest. This one functions a little bit differently than Forbearance. The playstyle loop is a bit different. Here I would go Handling Masterwork, and you'll see why in a bit. Quick Launch for the barrel, High Velocity Rounds for the magazine, and I have Auto-Loading Holster on this, which is why I didn't go with the Reload Speed Masterwork like I did with Forbearance, and Frenzy, so that I know you don't get the 50 reload speed from Frenzy because you got the auto-loading, but the 15% increased damage, which is going to be up pretty frequently, is going to feel pretty nice. You could go One for All as well if you're in a target-rich environment, because you can like hit 3 enemies with the same grenade, instantly procs it, which feels really solid. But this is a different playstyle. This is one where, you know, as opposed to Forbearance, where you're kind of only shooting the Forbearance, Explosive Personality, you kind of shoot one shot, switch back to your primary weapon, it reloads in the background, and then it's ready when you need it again. And of course, Season of the Risen GL, so Risen Umbral Energy. Forgot to mention that, sorry. Next, we have Pardon Our Dust from the Dares of Eternity. For me, this is an amazing blinding grenade launcher. So here I would go Handling Masterwork because we have auto-loading holster, so we don't really have to worry about a reload speed masterwork. Quick Launch on the barrel, Blinding Grenades, because like I said, Blinding Grenade Launcher, and then Vorpal Weapons, probably going to be your best bet in this fourth column. You could maybe go Demolitionist, I guess, if you want to. I'd probably go Vorpal in most circumstances. You're not really using this thing to damage enemies, it's just to blind them, and when you do shoot it at tankier enemies, like champions, orange bars, and stuff like that, that extra damage from Vorpal, it's going to feel a little nicer. But yeah, definitely Handling Masterwork as opposed to the reload speed. Don't need it for the auto-loading. This is probably my favorite kinetic Blinding Grenades GL. It just feels really solid for me. Love the auto-loading holster to reload it in the background. Definitely one that I would recommend trying to grab if you don't have a good kinetic blinding GL nade launcher already. Moving on to shotguns, we have the RAGNHILD-D. Here I would go Range Masterwork, Full Choke on the barrel, tightens the like pellet spread. Accurized rounds for bonus range, auto-loading holster so it reloads in the background, and the reason I like Full Choke on this is because I also would recommend 1-2 punch. It'll make that 1-2 punch pellet spread much more reliable, so you're consistently getting the 1-2 punch off. For me, shotguns aren't that great in PvE, so the only versatility that I really love from them is 1-2 punch and melee-based builds, and you'll see that theme pretty commonly as we go forward. This is also a world drop weapon, so that's how you get the red borders for it. Next, we have the Without Remorse, which is Season of the Haunted shotgun, so Opulent Umbral Energy. Once again, Range Masterwork, Full Choke for a tighter pellet spread. Tactical Mag gives an extra shot in the magazine and a little bonus reload speed. I like the sound of that. Threat Detector, because you're going to be close to enemies quite frequently, so it's going to give you better reload, better handling, so you can pull it out a little bit quicker. You don't have an auto-loading option here, so Threat Detector is kind of the next best thing. And once again, love 1-2 punch on shotguns. For me, unless it's a slug shotgun, 1-2 punch is really the only reason you're going to want to be using shotguns in PvE for the most part. Next, we have the Wastelander, which is Dares of Eternity, Range Masterwork, Full Choke on the barrel, Accurized rounds for the bonus range. I like Slide Shot on this because you don't really have any other way to reload the gun. No Threat Detector here, no auto-loading, so Slide Shot. Do a quick slide while you're holding it, reloads the mag, feels pretty solid. 1-2 punch, love 1-2 punch on the PvE shotguns, especially with things like Arc Hunter feels really solid. Any other melee based builds, 1-2 punch is always going to be really nice. Next we have No Reprieve, Season of Plunder, so Plundered Umbral Energy, Range Masterwork. I would go Hammer Forged Rifling here for the bonus range. Tactical Mag, because it gives an extra shot in the magazine. I actually like that for this gun because we don't really have any perks that increase our reload speed particularly well, so having that extra bullet feels really solid. Here I would go Surplus, which does increase your reload speed, but it's not going to do it to the effective threat detector, slide shot, auto loading, things of that nature. Much more active reload bonus rather than in the background. And it's going to give you bonus stats, the handling particularly, which I like a lot, pull it out more quickly and whatnot. Unfortunately, the shotgun doesn't have 1-2 punch, but it does have Swashbuckler, so it still works with melee-based builds to a certain degree. Get a empowered melee kill, 33% damage buff on the shotgun. That being said, of all the shotguns to use in PvE, this is probably one of my last picks, but if you really do want to use it, this is probably the role I'd go for with it. Next, we have Heritage, which is amazing. Get it from the Deepstone Crypt. I'd go Handling Masterwork on this guy. Fluted Barrel for bonus stability and handling, mainly for the handling though, because the idea with Heritage is a slug shotgun, which you'll see with our other perks, is that you're consistently pulling it out, firing one shot, and then putting it back away. Assault Mag is going to aid us with that. It's going to increase our rounds per minute, so that what this actually does is it allows you to fire it more quickly after pulling it out, so there's less of a cooldown between like pulling it out, putting it in your hands, and shooting the bullet. You have to wait less. Love Reconstruction on special weapons, because reloads in your pocket. Typically, you're going to have your primary weapon out for the most part, so Reconstruction feels great on the Heritage, and then Recombination feels amazing as well, because as you're getting kills with your primary weapon while this is reloading in your pocket, increases the next damage of your first shot of this weapon. Feels really solid for when you're in activity mainly with squishy enemies. You just gotta kind of load up a really big shotgun shot, pull it out, drop the tanky enemy, and then you go back to your primary, start clearing out the trash again. Next we have the Ikelos shotgun, Season of the Seraph, so Seraphic Umbral Energy. Here would go Range Masterwork, Full Choke, Tactical Mag, Threat Detector for better reload speed when you're near enemies, which is always when you're using a shotgun. And Swashbuckler, I think, is probably a pretty decent perk here. If you're using a melee-based build, you could do 1-2 punch in this as well. Obviously, I love 1-2 punch on PvE shotguns. These are the only two perks I would really go in most circumstances, though. I'd probably lean more towards 1-2 punch, but you can do Swashbuckler if it's more your speed. Next, we've got snipers. So we've got Father's Sins, Witch Queen World Drop. Here I'd go Reload Speed Masterwork. Fluted Barrel, it's going to give you the best control. Tactical Mag adds 2 bullets to the magazine and increases your reload speed a little bit. And then for perks, Triple Tap and Focus Fury are probably what I would go here. Not the best sniper, but, you know, if you're in a pinch and this is kind of all you can manage to muster, it's, you know, not terrible for a consistent boss DPS, especially with that Triple Tap and Focus Fury. They work a little nicely together, so that's what I would go for with this one in particular. Next, we have the Thoughtless, Season of the Risen Sniper Rifle. Here I would go Reload Speed Masterwork, Fluted Barrel, better control, Tactical Mag for bonus to magazine size. I would go Rapid Hit. Don't really have any other good perks here in your third column, and then I go Firing Line in your fourth column. This is going to feel nice when you're next to 2 teammates. Your reload speed is going to be really juiced up from the Tactical Mag, from the Rapid Hit, and from the Reload Speed Masterwork, and your damage is going to be juiced up by 20% when you're next to 2 of your buddies. So not the best DPS sniper, but certainly not the worst. Next up, we have Beloved, Season of the Haunted Sniper, so Opulent Umbral Energy. Here to go Reload Speed Masterwork, Fluted Barrel, Flared Magwell for bonus reload speed, and Surplus and Box Breathing. To me, this is not really a sniper that should ever be used in PvE, to be 100% honest, but if you are going to use it, it's kind of best used for slowing your shots and making the most out of every single bullet with Box Breathing. You really don't have any roles where this thing can be good for boss DPS in any sense. I would highly recommend against using the sniper in PvE, but you know, if you want a solar sniper that's good for just kind of taking out those tanky enemies one at a time, really slow, and taking your time, being kind of like slow paced and methodical with it, I guess you could go this route, but Beloved's more a PvP sniper, as we all know. Next, we have Defiance of Yasmin from the King's Fall raid. Admittedly, another not great sniper for PvE, but if, you know, maybe you love the look of it, Reload Speed Masterwork on this guy. Fluted Barrel, Tactical Mag, Snapshot Sights. Nothing else in this column is really particularly good for PvE. Snapshot just kind of feels nice. And then I'd probably go Demolitionist. You could go Firing Line if you wanted to, but you really shouldn't be using this weapon for boss DPS anyway. To me, the power fantasy of the sniper rifle is, you think it looks cool. You want to use it in like maybe solo play or when you're noodling around in regular strikes or something like that. Next, we have the Succession Deepstone Crypt sniper rifle, probably my favorite legendary sniper in the game. Here, I would probably go a handling masterwork. We don't need reload speed because in the third column, we've got reconstruction. Love reconstruction on special weapons. Gonna bump up the magazine size of this guy to 8 once we introduce tactical mag, which will increase our base magazine size to 4. It doesn't say it on the website, but it does take it up to 4. Reconstruction will bump that up to 8. I like fluted barrel, best perk for kind of controlling the shots of the sniper, and then probably firing line here, 20% bonus damage whenever you're next to teammates. If you're taking it into solo activities, you'll probably want to go more the vorpal weapon route. Finally, for snipers, we have the INSIDIOUS sniper rifle, Season of the Seraph, so Seraphic Umbral Energy. Here, I would go reload speed masterwork, fluted barrel, tactical mag for an extra 2 bullets in the magazine, and then 4 times the charm with focused fury. Normally, I don't love focused fury, but 4 times the charm, effectively increasing the size of your mag artificially, means that you're going to get a little bit more out of focused fury than you might be used to. It procs at 50%, but when you're using the INSIDIOUS sniper rifle, once you fire 4 shots, you go down to 3 bullets, your focused fury procs, but it's going to refund 2, so you get your focused fury for 5 shots as opposed to the remaining 3. Next up, we have trace rifles, starting with the Hollow Denial, Season of the Haunted, so Opulent Umbral Energy. I love trace rifles, and I would highly recommend trying to get one of each elemental trace rifle if you can. For this one, I like reload speed masterwork, I like hammer forge rifling for the bonus range, tactical battery, bonus range, reload speed, and stability. Here, your perk options aren't that great. Probably lead from gold is most likely your best option here, especially if you're doing like a double special with a heavy weapon type deal. It'll guarantee that when you pick up heavy ammo, you get a refund to special ammo as well, because if you're running 2 special weapons and you're getting kills with the special weapons, it increases heavy ammo drop rate, so it'll keep you topped off on this guy for the most part. And then I like killing tally on this a lot, to be honest. Get a 30% buff in PvE before you reload. Since trace rifles have such a large mag size, you're going to feel the effects of this perk really, really nicely. If you're running your Falcons build or something like that, Repulsor Brace could be really solid too. You could also do Wellspring if you want to focus more on restoring ability energy, but me personally, I like killing tally in most circumstances for this guy. Next, we have Retraced Path, Dares of Eternity. This is a solar trace rifle. Here, I like a reload speed masterwork, hammer forge rifling for bonus range, tactical battery for a lot of good stats that trace rifles tend to like. And here, subsistence is probably going to be your best option for third column. You don't have a lot of great choices here. As for your fourth column, you can go a couple different routes. You can go one for all, really easy to proc because you just hit 3 enemies with 1 of your 94 bullets and boom, you've got a 35% damage buff. You can go frenzy, bonus reload speed, 15% increased damage, pretty much up all the time if you're in combat for long periods. You can go Demolitionist if you're, really like having your grenade back quite frequently. And you could maybe even go Incandescent if you're running a solar-based build. Me personally, I'd probably take One for All or Frenzy in 99% of circumstances with this particular trace rifle. After that, we have Arc 1, Path of Least Resistance, Season of the Seraph 1, so Seraphic Umbral Energy. I'd go Reload Speed Masterwork. I would go Hammer Forge Rifling, Tactical Battery, and then the classic Stats for All, One for All, which, similar to how it feels amazing on auto rifles, trace rifles are basically just juiced up auto rifles, so Stats for All, One for All, going to feel really solid on this guy too. Moving on to heavy weapons, we first have grenade launchers. Actually, the only grenade launcher that is craftable, Witch Queen World Drop. Here, I would probably go Reload Speed Masterwork, Quick Launch, better velocity and handling, Spike Grenades, the best damage, and then I'd probably go Field Prep, increases the inventory ammo size of your GL and increases your reload speed while crouch. And then I'd probably go Chain Reaction here. This isn't much of a DPS grenade launcher. Don't really have many perks. You have One for All as a damage perk, but it's going to be tough to proc that before you enter like a damage phase. So I'd go more so like Chain Reaction. You're going to treat this more as like an ad clearing grenade launcher than you are like a boss damage grenade launcher. Moving on to linear fusion rifles, similar to how I said Forbearance is kind of a must have. This is probably up there in that same category, if not above the Forbearance, especially if you're a raider, you plan to do day 1 raids. Here you want Charge Time Masterwork, Arrowhead Break. It's going to make the gun easiest to control. Going to want Enhanced Battery. It's going to increase your magazine size up to 6. And the reason that's important is because you're going to rock 4 times the charm on this guy as well. meaning that when you go from 6 shots to 2 shots, if all 4 of those were crits, it'll pop you back up to 4 shots. Once you hit all 4 of those, it'll give you another 2. So it effectively gives you a total of like 10 or 12 bullets in the mag or something like that if you hit all your crits. Can't do the math in my head at the current moment, but basically allows you to proc 4 times the turn twice when you have 6 in the mag, as opposed to only being able to proc it once if you have 5 in the mag without enhanced battery. For your 4th column, definitely bait and switch. 35% damage increase for 10 seconds. Really easy to proc, especially if you have like Wither Horde in your kinetic slot. Best DPS linear fusion rifle in the entire game by far. Next we have the TIE Pen 4FR. Great void option. So if you're doing like GMs with a void Q burn, this thing is super solid. Or maybe if you're not a raider, you can't get cataclysmic. This would probably be the next best thing in my opinion. You want charge time masterwork, arrowhead break, makes the gun easier to control. Accelerated coils, it's going to give you a little less damage, but faster charge up time. It's overall going to increase your DPS. You're going to want to go triple tap here so that you get a bullet refund every time hit 3 crits. And then firing line for a 20% damage bonus whenever you're next to allies. This is definitely like a DPS linear, so good for raid boss damage. You're always going to be next to allies, so you're always going to be having that 20% damage buff. Next, we have the Sail Spy Pitch Glass from Season of the Plunder, so Plundered Umbral Energy. Here I'd go Charge Time Masterwork, Arrowhead Break, easier to control the gun, Accelerated Coils for better DPS, lower overall damage, but better DPS. Probably go Rapid Hit here, best option in my opinion of what's available in the 3rd column, and then I'd probably go Frenzy here in the 4th column. You could maybe go Vorpal, I guess, if you're in like a GM and maybe you don't think you're going to be in combat quite as frequently, but I think Frenzy even then honestly makes more sense. So I'd probably go Frenzy in 99.9% of circumstances, probably 100% for me personally, but if Vorpal seems more your speed, then I'm not gonna force you off fit. But Rapid Hit Frenzy, definitely the role I would recommend on this particular one. Next, we have Fire and Forget, Seraphic Umbral Energy, Season of the Seraph one. It's our Stasis linear fusion rifle. Charge time masterwork here. Arrowhead break. You're going to want enhanced battery here. It's going to take your magazine size up 1. Or you could go accelerated coils to get a little less damage and faster charge time. Going to give you overall better DPS. Kind of up to you there. I'd probably go accelerated coils personally, but like I said, up to you. 3rd column, I would probably go field prep here. It's going to give you more bullets overall in your reserves. You don't really care that much about the increased reload speed when you're crouched. Can help when you're in a DPS phase, but overall, you're going to really like it for that extra reserve ammo. Then in the 4th column, I'd probably go Frenzy no matter what. This is definitely in the DPS linear category. Vorpal's only going to give you 10%, and although Focus Fury gives you a 20% buff, you have to hit 50% of the magazine first, so I think Frenzy with its 15%, I think overall in a typical DPS phase, Frenzy's actually going to end up doing more. Moving on to machine guns, we have Recurrent Impact, Season of the Risen, so Risen Umbral Energy. I'd go Reload Speed Masterwork here, Hammer Forge Rifling for the bonus range, Tactical Mag, +7 to the magazine, and +10 to your reload stat, and I'd probably go Stats for All, 1 for All in pretty much all circumstances here. You could maybe justify something like Subsistence Frenzy if you wanted to, but Stats for All, 1 for All just feels super solid to me. You get a lot of reload increases from things like Stats for All, your reload speed masterwork, and your tactical mag. I just think this combination feels really solid. 1 for All gives you a 35% bonus as opposed to the 15% bonus from Frenzy, but ultimately it's up to you. This is what I would run personally though. Next we have Fixed Odds from the Duality Dungeon. Go reload speed masterwork, Hammer Forge Rifling for the bonus range, tactical mag, +4 to the magazine, +10 to your reload speed. Field Prep, it's going to give you overall more reserves and give you faster reloads when crouch. And then I'd probably go Incandescent here. To me, this is definitely the best perk overall. You could maybe go Killing Tally instead, or Rampage if you're in an activity where enemies are a little squishier. But Incandescent is going to feel really, really solid with especially solar-based builds. Next, we have QULLIM'S Terminus from the King's Fall raid. Here I would go Reload Speed, Hammer Forged Rifling, Tactical Mag, and probably Stats for All is the only perk I really like in this 3rd column. It's not a great pick, but everything else kind of sucks. And then probably Killing Tally is always what I would go in this 4th column. You could maybe go Headstone if you're on a stasis-based build, maybe Wellspring if you're really prioritizing ability regeneration, or maybe something like Firefly if you're in an activity where enemies are super squishy. But for me, if enemies are squishy, you're one-hitting them with a machine gun anyway, so Firefly seems a bit overkill to kill the surrounding things. I'd probably go Killing Tally in 99% of situations. Next for machine guns, we have PLANCK'S Stride, Season of Plunder, so Plundered Umbral Energy. Here I'd go Reload Speed Masterwork, Hammer Forge Rifling for bonus range, Tactical Mag, +7 to the mag, +10 reload speed stat. Here I'd probably go Perpetual Motion. Really don't have any other good options in this 3rd column. Could maybe do Killing Wind, but I'd probably take Perpetual over that, even so. And then in this 4th column, 1 for All is really the only perk that stands out to me. I think this is going to be your role for this particular machine gun in all circumstances. Next, we have Commemoration, which is probably my favorite machine gun, Deep Stone Crypt Raid. Here, I would probably go range masterwork. We don't need reload speed at all, because we are, of course, running Reconstruction. Love it on heavy ammo weapons, doubles the mag size, and reloads when it's stowed, which with heavy weapons, typically have them stowed actually quite often. Here I'd go Hammer Forged Rifling for bonus range, Tactical Mag, +5 to the magazine, which is actually going to translate to +10 because our Reconstruction is going to double that. And I would probably go Rampage for my perk here. You could go Repulsor Brace if you're doing like a Trafalcons build. Could do Killing Tally. It could feel decent with how big this magazine is. You got 64 doubled, so it's going to be whatever, 128. I think Rampage is gonna feel a little bit better. It's got a 3.1% higher damage than Killing Tally at the highest stacks, and you know this gun is super strong. It's got a ton of ammo. I don't think you're gonna really have any trouble getting to that 3x and maintaining it, especially in an ad dense environment. Finally, for machine guns, we have the Retrofit Escapade, Seraphic Umbral Energy, Season of the Seraph. Here would go Reload Speed Masterwork, Hammer Forged Rifling, Tactical Mag for the bonus 7 shots in the magazine, bonus reload speed. And you either go Stats for All, 1 for All here, definitely a good combo, or you could go something like Field Prep for the increased reserves, and Frenzy for increased reload speed and overall 15% damage buff when you're in combat. Pretty much gonna have 100% uptime in things like GMs, higher end activities. You could also go Rampage and activities where enemies are a little squishier. I'd probably go Frenzy in most cases, a little less stressful to maintain the uptime of that than it is on Rampage, but up to you at the end of the day, kind of depends on your playstyle. Moving on to rockets, first I have the Red Herring Witch Queen World Drop. Here I would go Reload Speed Masterwork. I would go Quick Launch for better velocity, better handling. Impact Casing, overall I think it's like a 2% damage buff. Nothing crazy, but you know, better than the other options. Rather have 2% than not have it. Here I'd probably go Field Prep and Frenzy. Frenzy's going to increase your reload speed, give you a 15% damage buff, which is better than pretty much anything else that you have in here. You could go Lasting Impression, which is a 25% damage buff, but thing about Lasting Impression is in DPS phases, typically, unless they're super long and you can get all of your rocket ammo off, typically with Lasting Impression, you're not going to be able to get your final rocket to do damage because the damage phase will end before your final rocket explodes. So I like Frenzy a lot in those circumstances, and I love Field Prep on this because extra reserves, and when you're crouched, it's going to give you a big boost of reload speed, which in conjunction with your Reload Speed Masterwork and the reload speed bonus from Frenzy, you're going to be firing this thing pretty quickly in DPS phases. All right, so we have the Palmyra B Precision Rocket Launcher, so not super in meta right now because it doesn't do quite as much damage as like the aggressive frames. Really solid auto-loading option, so I would go Velocity Masterwork here. Quick Launch on the barrel, Impact Casing, 2% overall DPS buff, and then auto-loading holster I think is really solid. This rocket feels lovely when paired with like Izanagi's Burden, get your Izzy rocket swaps. That's why I don't go reload speed on the Masterwork. And then Explosive Light, by far the best damage perk to pair with this guy. 25% damage increase for every orb picked up. You can stack it up to 6 times, and you're typically holding like 7 rockets max, so that's going to last you an entire DPS phase easily. Next, we have Bump in the Night. This is like the controversial rocket launcher. I'd go Velocity Masterwork here, Quick Launch, Impact Casing, bonus damage, auto-loading holster, which is why we don't care about the reload speed. And the controversial part, you probably, if you're on Destiny Twitter at all, you're probably like, oh, Chill Clip is amazing. Chill Clip is only good in circumstances where you are the only one using a Chill Clip rocket. If your other 6 teammates are also using Chill Clip, it's not actually good because the stasis shatters actually like get in the way of each other, and no one's shatter damage actually goes off, or like only one person's shatter damage actually goes off or something like that. So if you're in like a solo activity and you're definitely gonna be the only person using Chill Clip, then like sure, you can go Chill Clip, get the shatter damage. Otherwise, you'll want Frenzy on this guy. 15% damage buff, increase to handling. Reload speed doesn't really matter, but handling matters because you can then pair it with like Izanagi's Burning, do Izzy swaps with it, stuff like that. And finally, we have swords. Half-Truth, Stairs of Eternity, Impact Masterwork, obviously your only choice. Always going to want to go Jagged Edge for the bonus impact. Sword Master's Guard because it gives the best bonus stat spread across the board. Relentless Strikes, 3 hits with your light attacks will regenerate 1 ammo, so it's going to feel really solid for longer DPS phases. And then honestly, I don't really love any of these 4th column perks, just probably going to want to go Eager Edge for the movement utility. The other half has a couple more options than Half-Truth. Truths, Impact Masterwork, only choice. Once again, you're going to want to go Jagged Edge, Sword Master's Guard, and Relentless Strikes, just like the Half Truths. But you do have a couple more options here in this fourth column. You can go Frenzy if you're going to be in combat for a decent amount of time. You can go Whirlwind Blade, probably the best option for single target damage, I'm pretty sure. But those are probably the only two options that you're ever going to want to take on the sword in particular. You could take Eager Edge if you want to for the utility, but if you're using this as like a boss damage sword, I think Relentless Whirlwind is your best bet, mathematically speaking. Finally, we have the bequests. Deep Stone Crypt Sword, Impact Masterwork, Jagged Edge, Sword Master's Guard. Best 2 perks to have right there. Relentless Strikes, best 3rd column perk on a sword in my opinion. Keeps your ammo efficiency up really high. And you could either go something like Vorpal Weapon here. It's only going to be a 10% buff, so it's not that great. But it's great for like if you're against an enemy single target damage, or if you know that you're going to be around a lot of enemies quite frequently. Surrounded is definitely going to be a lot better because it's a 40% increase, but you have to have at least 3 enemies within 8 meters of you. So if you know you're in a target-rich environment, go with Surrounded. If it's like single target, Vorpal is going to end up being better. So hope that was helpful. Like I said, took a lot of time to make, so if you're not subscribed already, I would appreciate if you consider doing that. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.